Hello, sweet people. So I've been wanting to record this podcast or YouTube video all day, and I've been trying to figure this whole microphone thing out. I do have a light, so I don't naturally look like this at 4 p.m. in Berlin, but I couldn't find anything, so I'm just gonna go like this. I am on the first day of my period right now, which is usually not when I'm the most talkative, but for some reason today I had the feeling I wanted to start the first YouTube video. So this is what I'm doing right now. For anyone who doesn't know me yet, I am a self-love coach. I work with people on creating deep-rooted self-love inside of them, inside their subconscious, so that they can have thriving relationships, learn to take up space, and have a life led with empowerment. What I wanted to talk about today, and I know that a lot of people who follow me are trying to bring partnership into their life, or tend to have toxic relationships, or tend to find themselves again and again in unfulfilling relationships. And the reason why I feel like I can speak about this is because I had the same experience. When I was younger, I used to date the wrong people. I used to date people that didn't make me happy. I used to choose people that didn't choose me, all of the good stuff. And I realized at some point, the point where I really felt like my current partnership came in, or where I met my current partner, was when I really let go of all the expectations, what a partner would do to my life, what a partner would make me happy, that a partner would make me feel like I'm worthy of being the person that I wanted to be, you know? And the interesting thing is now I have created so much self-love in my life when it comes to my relationships, romantic relationships, family, when it comes to friendships, even like colleagues and all that stuff, and also when it comes to like just the relationship with myself in a lot of ways. But the interesting thing is that now these things of my ego coming in the way, or my wanting to have, for example, a partner in order to make me feel worthy in some sort of way, exactly that kind of stuff is coming through in business right now. And I thought, while I'm working through this, or while I'm navigating, seeing these similarities, and I find that so interesting, because what I have noticed is that bringing self-love into your life is an ongoing process. If you've worked with me before, or if you've seen my content, you know that I work with a lot of inner child healing. So I strongly believe that your self-love starts in your subconscious and starts with the upbringing that you had. And a lot of us didn't have a perfect upbringing. I don't think anyone had a perfect upbringing. So what you can do in deep healing meditations or hypnosis is you can actually rewire your brain. You can actually rewire your brain, make new synapses. So before, you maybe learned the synapse, okay, I can't take up space. Like if I take up space, then I won't be loved. That is, let's call it one synapse in your brain. And that one is like, you can imagine it like a path that's really, really deep. So your brain always goes for that path. And when you start doing hypnosis and working with a subconscious, so subconscious reprogramming, you make new synapses. So for example, you will make the synapse, when I take up space, I am loved, and people see me for my unique gifts. I don't get nervous usually anymore recording videos, but I guess this is a new format. And then by repeating that new synapse through deep healing meditations or hypnosis, and repeating it over and over again whilst having the emotional intensity with it, you can literally change your brain, and you can literally change your life through it. And what you in the end do by doing that is you heal yourself on a deep subconscious level. So you bring deep-rooted self-love into your life, which will then change your entire outer reality. You can imagine self-love being, or actually you can imagine other people's love, or the love that you receive from the world around you, as a mirror. And it's a mirror of what is already inside of you. So what I see a lot with people coming to me, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I dated this avoidant person, and this person didn't choose me, and they weren't over their ex yet. And it's all them. And of course, it's really good to look at that critically and see that that's not the right choice. But what's really important is, sorry for the ambulance in the background. What's really important is, why are you bringing that into your life? There's something inside of you that doesn't choose yourself, that doesn't think you're worthy of love, that doesn't make yourself the priority in your own life. You're probably putting them on a pedestal. And that's why everything starts within yourself. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but whatever, it's my first YouTube video, and the people who need to hear this are gonna hear it. So, and for me, the way that looked like from my own experience, like, oh my God, guys, my dating experiences when I was younger, when I was in my teens and very early 20s, I used to, constantly date people that weren't over their exes yet, or would have psychological problems. That would also be a huge thing for me that I found like was reoccurring. So a huge part of that is also dating people for their potential, right? So you see someone and you're like, oh, he's so good looking and he's like so charismatic and all of that, and he is so sweet 50% of the time. So I'm just gonna like really give him everything he needs, the support he needs, so that he can love me 100% of the time, which is unfortunately not how it works. You should give that to yourself. And that's what I had to start doing as well after going through such a horrible heartbreak, really. And now looking back at it, so this guy and I, which was like my biggest heartbreak, we dated for 1 year on and off, like kind of secret, because there was some stuff in the friends group going on. Maybe I'll go into this deeper later in the video or in a different video. But, and then when we finally were able to just like, you know, say to everyone, like, we're dating whatsoever, at that point there was like a break, but we weren't officially together there yet, so that didn't hurt as much. But then later on we got together and we were like 4 weeks, really only 4 weeks in a relationship, and I felt like I finally had everything that I wanted. I finally had all the love that I wanted. I was proving to me how good of a person I was, where my value was. It probably didn't even have to do with the love that I had for this person. I probably at this point, I don't even think I loved him as much as I can love now, you know? Yeah, and it really broke my heart. I was so shattered. Like, my mom brought me to her therapist, I think a couple of days later, because she was seriously worried about me getting into a deep depression. And what I really learned through this, like what I did throughout this process, I was like free writing every day. I actually need to see if I still have this document somewhere. It was like a pages document where I would just free write everything that I was feeling every day, and I would like mark it in colors actually. So I would have like orange for the days where I was feeling okay, green for the days where I was having like a really self-love high, and then dark red for the days where I was feeling really shit. And the main thing that was just kept coming up for me is like, I'm not worthy of being chosen. I'm never gonna be loved. I'm never gonna be the chosen one. And what is important to say is this person broke up with me saying, I just don't have enough feelings for you. And he even compared it to the feelings that he had to his ex-girlfriend. And that hurt me so much. And if you're in this situation right now, maybe you're going through a heartbreak, or you can have heartbreak through friendships as well, right? No matter what kind of breakdown you're going through right now, the universe, God, life is showing you a message where you still need to grow. Otherwise, it wouldn't hurt that bad. And I'm saying this because now, like, you could easily be like, oh God, you were only officially together with this guy for 4 weeks. What's your problem? Like, no, this was everything that I thought I wanted at the time. I thought this was gonna fill up everything that was missing in my life. And it did for a moment, but it didn't stick because it wasn't already inside of me, right? So again, this mirror, like this humongous heartbreak was necessary for me to be like, okay, I can either break over this because I really felt like I was gonna break, or I can learn to rise from the ashes, you know? And I can really grow from this experience because I obviously don't give myself the love that I'm so desperately needing. And that's when I really started getting into all the self-help stuff, and especially also into a lot of spiritual stuff, because it really helped me to find meaning in my existence. And still to this day, it's not a huge part of my coaching, it depends on the clients, but spirituality is still a huge part of my life, and it's still guiding me, and I still believe so strongly that the universe is always guiding you. And I can so see how I'm going through similar challenges now with my business that I used to go through with my dating life. And it's so interesting to see it, and it so gives me courage that anything is possible for me, because I've moved through that when it comes to love. So I know that I can move through it when it comes to business. But okay, losing my point here. But yeah, and I got into all these podcasts and read all the self-help books, and I really was the happiest I had ever been in my life. What I really learned was tune into my emotions, because you have to remember, this guy and I, we already dated for a year, and trust me, it wasn't always just rainbows and butterflies for that year. It was absolutely not. It was hot and cold, and it was me feeling good. Similar as to my document that I had, you can imagine it in green, orange, and red. I had the days where I was feeling really good, and those were the days when he asked me to come over and have coffee, or to go for a walk, or do something together that seemed like a relationship, even though it wasn't. It was a situationship. Just remember that, not the same thing. Or the days where I it was like like I was kind of waiting for a message, but I kind of knew his behavior, so like I kind of knew things were gonna, smooth out. And then I had the days where things were really shit, where I'm trying to not, because I know some people are gonna watch this that know him, so I don't wanna, I'm still sending this person all my love now, but I don't wanna, talk too much bad about him. But let's just say there was days where he really didn't do the things that you would expect from someone that treats you right, that respects you. But what I'm trying to say is my happiness and my mood was so dependent on this person. And what I learned through this, and it wasn't just him, like before that, it was other guys. He was just the guy who really intensified all the horrible stuff, or all the horrible patterns that were already going inside of me, and made me realize that that's not how I can keep on going, And and through these 8 months or so, I was really doing everything for myself that was making me feel happy, loved. I learned to have a connection with myself, and that's one of the first things that I almost teach all my clients that come to me is feel your feelings. I used to do this and I see this with my clients, I would walk through life numb, basically, I would feel uncomfortable and I would just suppress it. I would just, at the time would go partying, or would watch TV, or would do other things to distract myself, and not living fully in reality. And the way out of that is finding a deep connection to yourself. And the connection to yourself always starts with your emotions, because that's the thing that most people avoid. And there is no such thing actually as bad emotions. They're always showing you where you have to go next, and where you can still grow, and what things are going wrong. Like now, looking back at this relationship, if I had me as a coach then, and I would have just in the first week of seeing this guy, or let's say after 3 weeks, and I had coached me, and I would have asked me how are you feeling? And at the time, again, I was so disconnected to that, I would have to connect to that, and I would have had to tell my future coach self that I wasn't feeling valued, that I was feeling insecure, that I was feeling kind of numb, that I was feeling bad about myself, sad. And coach self would have definitely said, who do you think is that connected to? And I would have to say, yeah, that's connected to the guy that I'm seeing right now. I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but I'm just saying we ignore red flags so much because we ignore our emotions. When you're tuned into your emotions, you can't handle red flags for too long, because your emotions are making it so obvious to you that it's not working. But oftentimes we just decide to ignore the emotions because we don't want to see the red flags. Okay, going on. Yeah, so I went through these 8 months, and I was so happy. I felt so self-loving at the time. I moved out from at home, and I was just really, really growing. And then 8 months later, I met him at a party, and he kind of just confessed his whole love to me, as it is so often, right? Like the guy who doesn't choose you the moment you don't want him anymore, kind of chooses you and like tries to win you back. But even though I wouldn't recommend that to anyone, or I wouldn't recommend that to everyone, at the time I did get back together with him. But the interesting thing is, and this is why I'm saying like it was different to what I see with a lot of other people or friends at the time, I didn't go back to the same patterns. I didn't go back to just wanting him to choose me and like taking anything that I can. Like we took a really long time until we got physical again and all that stuff. And I actually wrote him a 15 pages letter with all the things that I expect from a relationship. And I'm just telling you this not to get back with your ex, because it didn't work out in the end. It didn't, but it kind of was the closure that I needed, like to kind of step into this relationship from a place of self-worth, you know, and really being like, this is how I love myself, and this is the only love that I will expect from a person in a relationship with me. And we were together, I think, for like 3 months or so then. And then I actually broke up with him at the end, because he was again coming to the point where he couldn't give me what I wanted. He did struggle with a lot of mental issues and all of that. And I just ended up feeling again, and I know a lot of people can probably resonate with that. I had these 8 months, right, where I was putting all my energy into myself. I was like blossoming into the self-loving being that I am now today. And all of a sudden I found myself in this relationship where I started putting all of that energy into him, because he hadn't done the work on himself, and he hadn't done the work that he needs to do in order to be in a healthy, loving relationship. And even though I loved him so dearly, and he's always gonna be a part of my heart, or he's gonna be in my heart or whatever, like he made me the person that I am today because of the heartbreak that he gave me. If I hadn't had that, I would have never done the work on myself, but we were just not right for each other. And what was so important about this experience though is that when you really stick to what you actually want from the relationship, maybe you would be the person ending it much earlier. And that's what turned out to be the case the second time we got together. You know, I had such strong values of what I wanted and what I needed. And even though I loved him so dearly, I still remember this to this day. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Like if you've ever broken up with someone when you were still in love with them, you can be so proud of yourself, because most people cannot do it. And the only way you can do it is when you really know that doesn't matter how much you love this person, you love yourself more. And yeah, and that was my story of how I kind of had, my growing into self-love and establishing that, and then practicing that, and then in the end being the person to walk away from the person that I thought I was gonna spend my life with, and that I thought was my soulmate. And then fast forward, I think 1.5 or 2 years in between that, I met my partner now, and it was just like the most beautiful way, I would say, of meeting someone. I don't know how long this video is. Let me just check. Oh, this is already 20 minutes. Okay, I think I might have to end it here. The next story might be of how I met my partner now, who is everything that I always wanted, and who was no one that I had to wait for him to grow into his potential. He was exactly where I needed my partner to be now, you know. And that doesn't mean that he's better than my ex or anything like that. It just means that we're a better match, and that's totally fine. We're all growing and we're all climbing our mountains. That's something that I tell my clients all the time that are not sure if they want to stay with their partners or not. It's not about who's the better person, not at all. We're all equal, and we're all great people and great souls. We're just all on our own journeys, and sometimes people are climbing completely different mountains, which makes it impossible to meet, you know? Yes, but the reason why I'm telling you all of this is I wanted to start sharing more about myself and my own story, because I noticed when I started researching people on or when I listen to business podcasts and stuff, what really helps me is seeing from where they came and where they are now, because that's why I'm watching this, right? Like, I want to see that transformation and what happened in between. And I think right now I've gotten to such a self-loving place, and I'm so content in my relationship, in my friendships, in my life, and just like with my overall happiness and lightness. And I just wanted to make sure that people know that it wasn't always like that, and I had to have my own experiences that brought me here, and I had to learn my own lessons. And one of the biggest joys of my life is just helping other women to go through that same process. Like, really, when I see some of the clients that I've worked with for 6 months now go from people pleasing, not knowing themselves, being disconnected from themselves, like just not understanding why their relationships and dating life is so shit, sorry to say that, you know, to having such a broad understanding of themselves, knowing where they want to be, knowing their values, knowing their core needs in dating, and just making themselves the core character of their life. It's just lights my heart up, because it's just exactly what I went through, and I just wish I had someone that was able to give me all of that in such short amount of time. And my way was also fine, like it was exactly what I needed at the time. And yeah, I'm just happy to support you. And again, like, maybe this story resonates with you, maybe you're going through a similar transformation, maybe you need to hear this. But the main purpose of what I want to bring across is that you can have the relationships and the life that you want, and you can feel good about yourself. Whatever you think this person, this dating experience, whatever is going to give you, that is already inside of you, and you're worth so much more than you can even imagine. And anything else I want to say? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it here. If you are looking for support in this whole journey, I do have a few free products in my Instagram bio. There is a core needs in dating worksheet. There is a free hypnosis on inner child healing. And there is a free self-love quiz, which I really highly recommend doing, because it will give you the areas in your life that still need more self-love, and will give you actual exercises and recommendations of how to bring that love into your life. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And again, this quality of this video is probably not very good. I'm recording it with my phone. I do not have a microphone that is arriving tomorrow. But one of my values is actually freedom and lightness. And I was thinking, okay, where is this coming into my life today? How can I bring freedom and lightness into this whole process of making this YouTube video, first podcast episode, whatever, is just doing it. So have a lovely evening, day, whenever you're listening or watching this. And I am just so happy that you are on this journey with me, and that you're listening to this. And if this helps even one person, I'm so happy. So thank you.